and welcome back to Business Inspire, the show that is dedicated to growth and empowerment of small businesses with a special focus on women who are building and leading them across our region. I'm your host, Ivor Wharton. So today we're spotlighting an organization that has spent years turning relief into real lasting opportunities. That is Food for the Poor, Guyana. My guest today is their Chief Executive Officer, Miss Andrea Benjamin. So, Ms. Benjamin, thank you very much for agreeing to speak with us.
Thank you very much, Ivor, for having us here this morning.
Now, I know that we're here to talk about the shift in focus of Food for the Poor, and we're also talking about a graduation that you had where a number of women were empowered.
Yes, so Food for the Poor, we've been operating here in Guyana for over 35 years. And of course, for a number of those years, our focus was on relief, given the needs of the country at that time. However, in the last 5 years, we're shifting from relief. We want to take family to a place of resilience. We want to build their capacities. We want to empower them to be the architects of their own future, not to rely heavily on relief any longer, but start to do things that they, their communities can grow. So the Braids of Hope is one such project that we're working on.
Oh, nice. So, if we can well, continue from the Braids of Hope, for our listeners who have not heard of Braids of Hope, what can you tell us about it?
All right, so the Braids of Hope project is one of our youth-based initiatives. What we've recognized in the last 3 years is that while the unemployment rate in the country has decreased, youth unemployment unfortunately remains high. So we started looking at what are the barriers, what is it that is keeping our youths unemployed in a country that we know there are more opportunities now than there were prior to 2020. So the Braids of Hope project was crafted to support um, young women in urban and peri-urban areas. And we started with South Georgetown, of course, closest to us. And it is a project where we want to ensure that interest can turn into business. And we know oftentimes young women they have interest in braiding, which is a very lucrative business. Yes, it contributes significantly to the cosmetology industry. And so we want to turn that interest into business. And so we decide, like, okay, what can we do? Um, Braiding, right? We will do this braiding initiative, and how can we make it beneficial? Because having the braiding skill is important, but it does not necessarily lead to success. There are also critical elements that you must have. You must be versed in customer service in order to have a business and for it to grow. You must be focused on hygiene. If you're doing braiding and you're doing it in a place that is dirty, customers are not going to go. So outside of the participants being taught the techniques of braiding and they learn about 10 or 12 different techniques, I did not know there were all those techniques. From the knotless to the butterfly, all the different techniques in braiding. We also taught them critical things that we know is going to contribute towards them moving on. Our expectation is not for them to be taught a skill and sit at home. They have to use the skill. So we taught them about financial literacy, a foundation course, hygiene, communication, also customer service, preparing them and developing them as an individual to take on the role of either a business owner or working with someone in the cosmetology industry.
Now, what was the response like? Because I know for a lot of young women, they can braid, they can do excellent braiding, but then sometimes they don't necessarily understand, pricing and these sorts of things. And depending on who come, they may say, "Oh, you don't necessarily have to pay." So going through the program with them, what was their response to learning these things?
They were very open, and I think that's sometimes surprised as it relates to, okay, we taught them marketing, we taught pricing, we had practical sessions where we had some of our team members from the office call them and say, hey, I'm calling, I would like to have this service done. This is the condition of my hair. To get them to understand the importance of dialogue with clients. And some of them were a bit surprised because, some clients can be very pushy. Yes, I want my hair braided, but my hair is weak. So, you have to learn to say, at this point in time, maybe you should not have your hair braided. Maybe at this point in time, you should do something to get your hair a bit healthy. And then we move on with the braiding. So those
Nice.
practical examples, yes, is what they had. We had 50 young ladies sign up for the program. We do not do large classes. Why? Because we understand that it's important for our participants to get the necessary attention. Right? So we had one tutor, 15 participants. 13 completed the program and graduated.
So, I know that many of the young women who would have participated in the program are mothers. Some of them took their children to the graduation. Some of them, you know, would have taken them to classes. What was that like? Seeing them coming with their children, seeing their children, seeing them trying to elevate themselves.
So it's important for us to understand that when we empower women, we're empowering the family and the community by extension, and of course, this country. So having the women come with their children and seeing the support that the family they got from their families at their graduation, that was excellent. We understand that we are investing not only in these young ladies but in their families, and that was very clear. We have one participant who's about to give birth soon, right? So we understand the ripple effect of what we were doing in them. We are investing, and we made that clear to them. This is this is an investment in you and your family future. This is an investment in the community as well. So we need you to utilize your skills to earn an income.
How many of them have said that they're interested in working with people?
Most want to start their own businesses. And so we started the process of getting them registered, getting businesses registered for them, because that is important. We also spoke to them about the Guyana Development Bank, and this is something that they can look out for and they can take advantage of in terms of registering and trying to get a loan. In just talking with one of the participants, Katina, she was saying if she's able to start a small business, she will take at least about three of the participants with her. Yes, and they can work with her until they're able to start their own businesses.
I know that um, research would have shown that a number of small businesses would die in the first year. What system is in place to actually see that these women can move past that 1 year period and actually create successful businesses?
So the thing is, they're now part of the Food for the Poor family. We don't train you and leave you behind. So for those who are registering their business, our program coordinator, Miss Leach, is actually going with them and walk them through that process, right? And we're going to continue to be there with them. We have a WhatsApp group where they communicate with us at any time, morning, noon, or night. And they will share their experiences, they will share their challenges, and so forth.
So if we could talk about beyond Braids of Hope, what other programs are you running that can see young people benefit?
All right, so like I said before, we recognize that there are gaps when it comes to youths, and we need to work to fill those gaps, and that is our focus. So we also have the Youth Enhancement Project that was started in 2023. And that too was birthed out of the fact of we have too many youths unemployed. And when we look at the areas or the barriers to youth unemployment, it's simple things at times. More so like, oh, I went for an interview and they told me I need to get a bank account, but I don't have a bank account, so I never went back. Right? Why you don't have a bank account? Oh, also because I have no proof of address. And so, all right. And so, what the Youth Enhancement Project, we have had two cohorts completed. Again, small, because we recognize that we need to have we need to ensure that they have the attention and they get the knowledge that they need. These projects run for 3 months. We don't do 6 weeks because 6 weeks is not enough to impart knowledge and also to build a relationship with the participants. The youth enhancement, they get skills for, they're prepared for job readiness. But not just the fact that, okay, you need to know how to communicate, empathy, conflict resolution, and so on and so forth. We also look at, okay, we take them to job fairs. A lot of youths did not know that there were companies having job fairs. Because what I recognize is what I follow on social media, a 17 or 18-year-old living in an urban or peri-urban area and even a rural area is not following. I'm following Banks DIH, Ansel McCall, all the government agencies. We know that social media is meant more for entertainment for young people. So I said to our team, we have all of this knowledge. We also have networking capabilities. We take them to companies so they can understand what job opportunities those companies have. We took them to one group, to Sterling Products Limited. The participants were like, I didn't know that you could have done so many things at Sterling. They weren't even too familiar with what Sterling did. So we also work with them on their CVs, and then at the end of it, we network to ensure that they get a job or they're upskill. So once you get that 3 months training, we don't just leave you there. At the end of it, you were either matched to a job and you would have started working. We have partners, like I said, like Sterling Products Limited. We have the Marriott Hotel. We have several persons employed there, passive. Let me tell you a story of two participants from that program. We had one young man that was already scheduled to attend the Government Technical Institute. One barrier would have kept him out of that institution. And through that program, we were able to intervene. And he has completed his diploma in computer science. He worked at eNetwork and he's moved on, I believe, now to GTNT. If not for that intervention, I'm not certain where he would have been. We had a young lady, when we met her, she had just completed CSEC and she was home sleeping. And so we encouraged her to participate. When we matched her with a job, after she did a tour of a company, she was not too enthusiastic about the salary. And so we talked to her and her dad, and we said, listen, you have to start somewhere. She came back a year after the program. She is a younger version of Angela Bassett in a pink pantsuit. And she was telling us all about what she has achieved thus far. And then I recently talked to her employer, and she's now at the Government Technical Institute pursuing a diploma in an engineering program.
Now, based on what you would have said, I did an interview some weeks ago, and one of the things the woman was an HR executive. She said that enough time is not spent trying to learn about young people, learning what their interests are, to see how you can better help them. Do you believe that organizations, I mean, and parents and so on, need to pay a lot more attention to what the interests of young people are, rather than just casting them off as being lazy and stuff like this?
Yes, but not only the interest, the challenges. So that program also has psychosocial support. Why? Because we know that we all come with problems. So we have a counselor throughout the 3 months, and they're mandated to do one-on-one and group counseling. And if needed, family counseling is done.
Nice.
That is the holistic support that that project provides to those participants. And we have a third cohort now ongoing.
So, if I could ask you, what other programs you would like to see your organization pursue in terms of supporting young people?
So we have several others. So we also have the youth mentorship program in under Neiman Region 2. That is a community that Food for the Poor, in collaboration with the Regional Democratic Council Region 2, and the government of Guyana would have established over 16 years ago, the Little Red Village. But what we recognize again that youths are having some challenges. And not only there, we're seeing it on the television. We're seeing the instances of bullying and other things going on at school. We see it on social media, unfortunately. So we designed a 1 year, I believe, in longer term support type projects, not short term, because like you said, you don't get to know the person in 6 weeks. I will get to know you if I spend 2 hours every Saturday for 12 months with you. And we're doing that right now, and we have about 20 areas that we're covering with them in terms of topics. We started off by, who am I? That's a question that a lot of persons, even adults, not certain what the answer is. We often say, my name is Andre Benjamin, I'm a mother of one. No, who are you? So we start off with that, and in between we have everything from dealing with fear, trauma, empathy, civil engagement. They must understand that you need to give back to your community. We also look at what are your plans for the future. Those 20, again, small group, those 20 youths, we will start looking at career guidance in another couple of months. We're going to start looking at that. And we're bringing them to Georgetown next month for them to have a tour, for them to see exactly how the country is changing, what is happening, and what are the opportunities available. We recognize that in some areas, youths are unaware, lack of information and knowledge. I was in the Maruka sub-district in February of this year, and I asked a couple of the secondary school students, what do you want to become? Nobody spoke of opportunities in the oil and gas sector. I hear the traditional soldier, policeman, teacher, nurses. Guyana has grown way past that. And that is what the type of support we need to give young people. They need to know what is happening in this country. They also need to know that how to access information. Yes, it's okay to like all the social media personality pages, but you also need to access the companies and the news and the government agencies. You need to know what is happening in your own country so you can make decisions for yourself.
I know that a lot of focus has been placed on girls. Is this something that Food for the Poor is focusing, or are you just focusing on young people?
So women and girls are key, another key area. The men do not feel any way. So we have an adult literacy program. Although we do have some youths. It's been done in the hinterland. Thus far, we have 45 women who have graduated in the past 2 years. Again, we do small classes, 15, right? 15 participants. And that project was meant to build the capacity of these women to operate within their community. Oftentimes, we tend to underestimate the importance of basic literacy and numeracy just to operate in your community. What does that mean? Going to the health center, going to the school to talk to the teachers. A lot of times you find women who are unable to read and write, or they're not strong in those areas, that they avoid going to the health center. Because if you do not know to write your name and you go to the health center or to spell it and somebody asks you that question, you're embarrassed. So they would stay away from the health center, neglecting their medical needs. That project has been, I can tell you, very transformative. I remember after the first batch of women graduated, and that one was actually in Baramit in Region 1. 2 weeks later, they got the student cash grant. And instead of doing thumbprint, they were signing their names. And instead of doing thumbprints, they were signing their names. One woman said, you know what, I spoke up in church about something that was bothering me. So we not only teach them how to read and write, we also teach them how to maneuver in their community. We're currently working on a project that we have major support from a donor agency here in the country. And one of the questions we have when we're collecting baseline data is, if I'm to ask you to stand in front of the little group here and tell them what you did yesterday, would you do it? And most times, They would not. We want to build their confidence. We want when they engage in community meetings, you ask questions. Not just sit there, listen, and then when you leave, you go on talking about, this and that. No, ask questions. Be actively involved in your community. Um, and we have participants from that project ranging from ages 14 is the youngest we would have had, and 6 to 9 the oldest. We've had mothers and daughters. We've had village council leaders participate in that project. One village council leader, she's taken on additional responsibilities now. She does mobilization because she can call the names of her villagers. She can recognize it on a paper, she can pronounce it, so she can go out and mobilize when they have meetings. So that is the work of the organization now. The focus is no longer solely on giving you a hamper every month. And this is something we've been saying for the last 3 years, right? We want to remove persons from that. The focus now is let us empower you so you can build your family, and together you can build your communities. And of course, the ripple effect is the country at the end of the day.
So how responsive has been this change? I know that, in Guyana, when you hear food for the poor, you know that somebody's going to help us to build a house, they're going to give us a hamper, they're going to give us some reading machines, or something. So how has this new shift been accepted?
So we started promoting it in 2020, at the end of 2023. Our 2024 theme was moving from relief to resilience. So over the years, we've had community partners, these groups and churches that would collect the items and distributed it. So we would have been encouraging them since then that the world is changing, not only just Guyana. And relief is not integral to development. In fact, it's a barrier. But as I said before, when the organization started, that is what was needed in the country. Now, it is not necessarily the best thing for an individual or a family. Once they have the capacity to learn something new, to move beyond where they are, we want to be there to help them. You will have instances, of course, where you have persons who are incapable of being employed because of health reasons or whatever the case is. But once you're capable of improving your situation, we want to work with you, and that is our focus.
Well, Andre, it's always a pleasure talking with you. I know that we have a special guest to bring on,
Yes.
one of the graduates from your Braids of Hope program.
Yeah.
So, as I mentioned earlier, we will be joined by a special guest, and that is Miss Katina Macey, one of the recent graduates of Food for the Poor's Braids of Hope program. Katina, what could you tell us about yourself?
Well, my name is Katina Macey. I'm a mother of six, and I joined the Braid of Hope program to learn more so that I could teach my kids for the program because I have bare girls, and plaiting hair is something that I didn't had like a other sister to comb my hair, and me getting girls, I decided well that hair should could be one of my thing. So I joined the Braid of Hope program, and I taught my daughter already how to plait in the boho braids. And I would like to thank the Food for the Poor program on my behalf because it has done a lot for me. Because going out there and pay for doing a program is not the easy. And if I could teach all six of my girls to do plaiting, it would be a great deal. It would be a great deal.
So, braiding is something that you were always interested in.
Yes, braiding and cooking was something always my thing.
So now I spoke with Ms. Benjamin. She said that you're interested in starting your
Yes,
own
starting my
business.
own business. We hereby it would be a food and a hair business at the same time. You could start out small, but me, I always wanted to start my own business, and My business, what I wanted to start would be in a food business and then into the hair business, but I got the opportunity from the Braids of Hope program, and I'm so happy because it's done a lot for me because I get to teach my daughter something that she don't have to go out there and pay for. Yeah.
What has been the the response like from your children? Watching you go through the program, graduate from the program, and hearing that you want to start this business.
Well, my eldest daughter, she has been backing me because anything that I learned from the Bread of Hope, she want to learn just the same way too, because she know my passion is about all about the hair and the food business. I sometimes teach her to, well, she ain't getting on the food business like, but the hair she taking it on. She did my hair.
Oh,
Yeah, she
nice.
did my hair and she didn't know how to put in the boho. And I learned one day at the whole program, and the next day I go home, I show her, and she was able to master that too. Yeah.
So before the program, um, you did braids.
Yes, before the
Uh,
program, braid was like, what must say, like a lifestyle, a piece of my lifestyle, and not like a everyday habit. But I would get buys from through the scheme would come on a daily, sometimes weekly basis for I plait here. Sometimes I get 3 heads in one day, for plait 2 heads in one day. Yeah, I used to like plait people here before I do the Braid of Hope program. But after I hear about the Braid of Hope program, I decide to go and get myself certified, so with a certificate, and get myself more better into the braiding.
mhm. So how is your approach now to this as a business in terms of your pricing and so on?
Um, what must say, like far better because at the Braid of Hope program, we didn't only just learn how to braid here. We learn how to price. We learn how to do pricing, cost, and a lot more we learn on the program. Other than just plaiting here, we learn how to speak to people, how to have a conversation. Because me, I was like all up on when I first started the Bread of Hope program. What must I didn't know like for speak a little, but Miss Villini, she coached me. Miss Lynette, she coached me, and I was like, I get there through the program. Yeah, I get there through the
So
program.
you have seen growth.
Yes, I have seen growth. I have seen developing myself. Yes, I have seen growth.
What would your recommendation be, to women like yourselves, who
My
don't.
recommendation out there to women like myself, I would tell you guys, Food for the Poor got a lot of program going on, and if you guys could get yourself into one of those program, it would be a great deal for you guys because it's been a great deal for me, and if it would be a great deal for you if you join the program, not if you sit at home and say, well, I can go and join the program, or you start the program today and you're in attend it tomorrow. No, get there, do it, go. I think it was like around 6 weeks, 6 week we program we went for, and I went almost every day. I wouldn't lie to you, I missed a couple of days, yes, but almost every day I was there on time, prompt, make sure that I learn. I go there to learn because it had some people that came there and they did the program. Well, I must say they tried to learn, but they didn't reach as far as I
Mhm.
think they should, or they think that they should. Yeah.
So now that you are really, getting your business on stream, how do you think you'll be able to, balance motherhood and managing these two businesses?
Well, for balancing motherhood, my kids, I don't have babies. I got big girls. My eldest daughter, she would be 14, the 6th of September. I got a 10-year-old. She would be writing commentaries next year. And I had like big children, so it wouldn't be like a task to me managing the business and managing. Plus, I got my husband on his side. He would be there to back me.
How important is your husband's support to what you've been doing and want to do?
Very supportive because for Gaffer stay home on a day like we program usually starts at like 4, and he would like watch over the kids when I'm not there. Yeah, he been very supportive, encouraging me to go when the day come. Yeah, very supportive.
And one of the things I want to add about Katina, so Braids of Hope is not the first project she would have participated in. When she talks about her love for food, it also has to do the love for growing her own food. So we also had an urban agricultural project in the South Georgetown
I didn't take
area.
part of it.
Yes, because we
Oh.
all know the cost of vegetables are going up and everybody's complaining. And although you live in Georgetown and you have a concrete yard, you can still plant. So we
Yeah.
did container cultivation with them. And Katina was one of
And
our
right
best
now, I know
students.
my Belange
Yes.
big on the tree. I splash pictures,
She
my
was,
pepper, everything I just flash on,
Katina,
just
yes.
send it in the group. Let us see well that I didn't just take the
Yes.
program and put it at things that they didn't, things that we didn't plant at the program. I go home and I plant like such as boro. I go and plant my own broadleaf thyme. I plant my own tomato. No, we planted tomato. My own cucumber tree. Yeah.
That's nice.
So she has strengthened the food security within her family through that program, right?
Yes.
And that was the intention of that project.
And that was the
to,
intention of
yeah,
that program.
strengthen food security for the 20 families who participate.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, thank you very much for agreeing to speak with me. And Katina, congratulations.
So thank you.
All right.
So that is it from us here at Business Inspire. And I know that we will be hearing a lot more from Katina and Miss Benjamin.